Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. Yeah, it's lit in the Chop Shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based to debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30, let's do a first take on Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray and Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, he hit me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the Chop Shop, cause they cutting up. It's Retro coming to you live to the Chop Shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the Chop Shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the Chop Shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop.
H-Town, what's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim, the Cheat Sheet Hicks, coming to you live from Houston, Texas, but we're broadcasting all over the world via Facebook Live and YouTube Live. It's Women Rock Wednesday. It's Women's Day today. Yes, and Jimmy, let me talk to my women today. Jessica Brooks, Sonia Billingsley, Mindy Collins, Yolanda Green, and Shantae Wilson. All of those are the first ladies that signed up for, that came on the feed, that came on my feed this morning. Amazing, amazing day for women. And Jimmy, today marks the official second half of 2020. What adjustments will you make to your mindset, your habits, and ensure you come out on top? So let me tell you something now. July 1st is a really big day. First of all, it's the first day that Major League Baseball began spring training. Jimmy, that's your favorite game. That's what happens, okay? And then, hold on. Then, they just got the report today, and you can call it an irony, Jimmy. I looked at it, and you can call it a coincidence. You can call it a perfection. But baseball is opening on this date because of a long-drawn fight over money. Y'all follow me, ladies and gentlemen. Jimmy. But July 1st also happens to be Bobby Bonilla Day. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest deferred contracts of all time. Bobby Bonilla is about to get $1.2 million, part of his deferred contract dating back to 2011. Yeah. And let me help y'all with that. Why I call it Bobby Bonilla? Go Google old Bobby B up, okay? Let me show you something. He last played for the New York Mets in 1999. His last day as a baseball player, I think the Cardinals, that last Jimmy, he had a contract to 2001. But let me explain to you, Jimmy. The Nets agreed for the remaining $5.9 million they owed him, they would defer it and make annual payments later. Okay? Get this. They wanted more cash. Jimmy, do you know why they wanted more cash? Ricky Scott, Kenneth Lofton, Yolanda Green. To invest in Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme. There was Bernie Madoff's. So they said, Bernie gonna make us so much money. We ain't worried about this much money. We gonna take this 5.9 million and put it in Bernie's thing. We ain't worried about paying Bobby Bonilla later. So guess what? The deal that it started in 2001, right? He gets $1.2 million until the year 2035. Y'all, he'll be 72 years old. Jimmy, I think it's perfect that spring training starts today, Bobby Bonilla Day, because it was a fight over money. And back then, Jimmy, it was a haggle over money. So, but Jimmy, guess what I talked to my financial advisor. Guess what he told me? He said, Rob, Bobby Bonilla could have made out better if he would have took his $5.9 million that he was owed in 2000 and then invested it at the end of that season instead of deferring it. Then I said, wait a minute, whoa. He said, Robert, if he had put that money in Amazon and had it today, that 5.9 will be worth more than $1 billion right now, Jimmy. I just thought I'd throw that in there. I had to ask, Jimmy. I had to ask.
Yeah.
Huh?
At that time, who's to say that Amazon wouldn't have been what Bernie Madoff investment was? So that was good money. Now,
No. Amazon was a business. This man had a Ponzi scheme.
I understand that, but his Ponzi scheme was predicated on mutual funds and on different
Amazon
funds.
Yeah.
That he would,
No, it ain't the same, Jim.
It
It ain't the same. It ain't the same.
But
keep on talking.
Making a decision to place your money in behind a financial institution, publicly traded or not, is still when they're on the ground.
Amazon could have crashed. Yes. But
Yeah,
guess
you
what,
never
Jim?
know that. But
Jim,
at the same time,
I'm playing Monday morning quarterback right now. I'm talking to my financial people. I'm not talking to you. My financial people, that's what they told me. I had to ask.
Yeah, that's,
you don't
that's
invest that much. People who invest a lot, we think like that. Man, what if? Yes. Bernie Madoff, man. Jimmy, by the way, it might be some young people who haven't heard about Bernie Madoff. Jimmy, some people Jimmy, go Google Bernie Madoff. Everybody, go Google him, and then you'll know what we're talking about. But Jimmy, we got some special guests today. This Women Rock Wednesday. And guess what? I'm going to let you, we almost time for them. I'm going to let you, as customary, I'm going to let you cue these guests up today.
Yeah, and in just a second, we are going to be joined by a couple of guests, a couple of administrators that have long awaited to get on the chop shop, to get something off their chest, and in an effort to clear the air and to repel a lot of the criticism and accusations against their school, and which is based in Houston, Texas. So that's coming in just a second as we're getting ready to cue them up. They ready to chomping at the bit. Meanwhile, we're giving you guys an opportunity to share the show, to let everybody know that it's about to go down on the Chop Shop with a good conversation to help educate everyone about the legacy of the School of Sports Science. And should be a great thing. And Al, I just wonder, you mentioned the Bobby Bonilla thing, but and think about this. Allen Iverson has a deal similar.
No, it's not similar.
No. Similar meaning it was a deferred deal.
Okay.
To whereas once he turned a certain age, I think it's 55 years old.
55 years old. He ain't getting no million a year.
Bobby he's getting the equivalent. He getting the equivalent of $1 million a year.
No, Jimmy, but he ain't getting Allen Iverson. What if he need that money now? Bobby,
you can Haller, you just said you speaking to your financial literate or people.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, you talking to one.
He can borrow.
He still need to live. he can go and get a loan against any of that money that he got coming to him any day of the week. It's like a reverse mortgage. If you got somebody own a house, old people been doing it they've been preying on older people for the last two decades with reverse mortgages in the housing industry. That means
You think that's how Allen Iverson living right now?
No. I'm telling you, he can go and borrow against that if he wanted to.
That ain't not what I'm saying. If my auntie had a scrotum, she'd be my uncle. I didn't say if. I said Bobby Bonilla.
I'm telling you, he can if he wants to. There's no bank in the world that would not give him a loan against that money and put the interest rate wherever they want to put it at. Because they know
Bobby getting his own money. He getting this.
Bobby Bonilla can get a loan off of that money if he wanted to. If he wanted to, he could go to the bank and write that and sign that $1 billion
I understand you can, Jimmy. But every July the 1st, Jimmy, 10 days before my birthday, Jimmy Bobby gets a check. Allen Iverson got to go to the bank and
he's not the only one.
Who?
Charles Barkley had a deal, a somewhat a deferred type deal with Nike back in the days. Gave him shares instead of payments. And if Charles Barkley would have took that payment back in the days and not taking a lump sum, invest in Nike, just believe in us. This is going to be all right. Charles took the deferred.
There's a reason he did it, Jimmy. He said he knew he was going to mess the money off. Charles Barkley is quietly one of the richest guys out there. And Jimmy, hold up. Speaking of Nike, hold on. I know we got our guest. You shouldn't have triggered me there. Jimmy, guess what I did? You know I'm always looking. As much money as Michael Jordan has made for Nike, he do not sit on no board. He is not one of the major shareholders. He is not on none of that, Jimmy. I said, wow. Now, Barkley I don't know how much of a major shareholder, but a guy who built that company, or he is not one of the major shareholders in the company that he built. He got his money. Don't get it twisted. But y'all, that's just a valuable lesson. I want to be wealthy. I don't want to be rich. So the next time a smart young player said, hey man, I want to be a part of the board of directors. I want to be a part of the people who gonna get money. Hold up. So those kids who all those board of directors, their kids gonna be eating off of the house that Mike built. I just thought I'd share that to a lot of people who I didn't even really know. I wasn't paying no attention till somebody just told me about it about a week ago. But yeah, what else? You ready for our guest? Because they're gonna take a
Absolutely. It's time to get on up in there. We got a quick break. It's time to tab and break and then come on back and let's get our guest in there. That way we'll be grooving there on time.
Okay, all right. Let's try that live. Let me set something up. Yeah, I got something for you. I think I got something for you.
One of them even got a lid on. Boy, you know it's going down. But I'm down. Women Rock Wednesday with a lid. Oh, let me tip my thing.
I got you. Here you go.
You know,
I got the Oscar, I got the Emmy, I got the 2 Tonys. I've done Broadway, I've done off-Broadway, I've done TV, I've done film, I've done all of it. I have a career that's probably comparable to Meryl Streep, Julianne Moore, Sigourney Weaver. They all came out of Yale. They came out of Juilliard. They came out of NYU. They had the same path as me. And yet I am nowhere near them. Not as far as money, not as far as job opportunities, nowhere close to it. But I have to get on that phone and people say, you're a black Meryl Streep. There is no one like you. Okay, then if there's no one like me, you think I'm that, you pay me what I'm worth. You give me what I'm worth.
Rockets win. James, let's talk.
You had that performance sick?
That's right. So the other interesting thing that happened in this game, beyond the victory by the Rockets, was that late in the game, Doc Rivers gets teed up not once but twice, gets thrown out, and that's his son, Austin, standing there, instructing the refs, get my dad out. Now he's got the fans all getting into it. Now Doc is leaving. He's aggravated. And Austin is saying, give me a call, Dad. Give me a call a little bit later. All right, let's talk about this.
Come back. This
has been the worst team, the worst experience I ever did. Players, this is not on you. So listen. This is not on you. Players, y'all did everything. Y'all gave your heart. Y'all did everything right. It was the coaches. The coaches. Listen up. This was the coaches.
Kawhi Leonard made LeBron James look athletic. There's not many guys that can contain him in key moments the way he did, or get his game off on LeBron in moments when he. I don't know if there's a.
So you're trying to say like he took away his athleticism from
because we saw it last year, but there was no LeBron in the playoffs. Right. So I was like, oh well, you're doing it, but you're not doing it against the guy who is the best at it.
Right.
Tonight he did it against the guy who's the best at it.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop, your midday happy hour, the best 120 minutes of your day. Moving right along, of course, indeed, 20 minutes past the hour. If you're on that lunch break, just come on along with us on the Chop Shop. This is the best 120 minutes of your day. Shout out to Mr. Katie on Women Rock Wednesday.
What?
You know, I hadn't seen Mr. Katie in a while. He's over in the Facebook room. Shout out to our people in the YouTube boom boom room, such as Karen Thomas over there.
Hey, Karen.
Women Rock Wednesday. Sonia Billingsley.
Hey,
Women Rock Wednesday.
Hey, Sonia.
I see Shantae Wilson over in the Facebook room. I see Alyssa Ville is over there. Women Rock Wednesday. Mindy Collins. Shout out to all the ladies out there. But meanwhile, most importantly, it is time for our distinguished guest of honor today on the Chop Shop. We have part of the administration at Legacy, the School of Sports Sciences, which is located in North Houston. We have Principal Ralph Butler, and of course, Danielle Canada, and she is not only the athletic director, but she is the college, I would call it just the college specialist of the athletic program at Legacy, the School of Sports Sciences. Welcome to the Chop Shop, guys and girls, and on this Women Rock Wednesday. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, they forget.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Hey.
There you go.
That's all right.
There you go. What's going on?
How you doing?
Thank you for having us.
All right. I mean, welcome on this day. And of course, you guys to get right into it. There's a reason that you wanted to come on the Chop Shop, and there's been criticism. That's the at the least from a lot of a lot of people in and out of Houston throwing darts at your school, and your school, which is a minority-owned infrastructure. And a lot of times, we being a minority urban sports talk show, will provide all minorities an opportunity at our platform to voice your thoughts. That's what the Chop Shop do. Nobody else would do so up on demand of such. So first of all, these critics and criticism that's going on out there, what is the thing that's nagging you that you're hearing the most that's coming from abroad about Legacy, the School of Sports Sciences, and their academics?
So one of the things that, and I wouldn't say that it bothers me, because it's coming from folks that are not academians. I'm not hearing it from other principals, other superintendents. I'm hearing from folks that are primarily concerned about sport. I wanted to come on to help protect our coaches who are out there recruiting kids and getting kids in the best light. That's a part of our structure, is that our coaches are connected to students and families already, because we're here to serve, right? One of the biggest things that bothered me at all, I saw one of the questions going by. I'm not sure what the guy's name was, but I know he laid his stat line out about how many kids that he created, millionaires, billionaires. First off, I don't keep score like that, right? If you're serving folks, you don't keep score of what you made, right? He didn't make nothing. Those kids made something of themselves. You gave them the opportunity. So that's what coming on and just saying our job is to provide kids opportunities, support them in a manner that it doesn't necessarily happen in the traditional setting. And I want to say, I'm a public school, Houston ISD graduate, Texas Southern University graduate. So
Oh, so
I'm
you
public
go
school
tight.
all the way, right? And so I'm not a fan of charter. I'm a fan of the opportunity Kerry Patterson Brown gave us to honor sport. And that's what we do here. We honor kids' passion. Nobody on our campus is going to tell a kid that, I know that's your dream to be a professional athlete, but you better come up with plan B, C, D, E, F, and G, because the likelihood of you making it is slim to none. That's not our job. Our job is to support them, put them in the right position, and move forward. So we honor their passion. Why would I honor your passion for math, science, social studies, dance, music, or whatever if you don't honor my passion?
Right.
So that's the first thing that we do, is we honor what these kids love. When I was 10 years old, I tried to wear my uniform to church, to the grocery store, put my cleats on. That's all I thought about. And then I would go to school and some teacher would tell me, this was my goal. I'll tell you what my goal. I wanted to be the first left-handed shortstop in the major leagues. That's what I wanted to be, right? And
a left-handed shortstop?
That's right, left-handed shortstop. I was gonna go in the other hole, up the middle, and snag that bad boy, turn around and rip it through. Right? That's what I was talking about.
How about that, Jim?
Yeah. So here's the thing.
A right-handed first baseman come next.
Right off the jump, somebody told me I can't do that. Right at 10 years old. Now, the world is my oyster and everything else. Except no, not in sport. No, you better prepare yourself to go get another job, 8 to 5, and hustle on the side and all that stuff. That's not what we do here. We honor their passion. We talk their language. We teach life through their sport, right? So that's what we do. We go down and get them. When a kid tells me he doesn't like 5 minutes being late to class, 5 minutes doesn't matter, then I take him, I meet him at the game, and I tell coach, he doesn't care about 5 minutes, so don't put him in till the 5th minute of the first quarter. All of a sudden, he's going to class on time and paying attention the entire time. So that's what we're doing, is just speaking their language, right? And trying to translate your success skills that you have on the court right now can translate to the same thing in the classroom. And then it's going to make you a better player. So that's what we do at Legacy School of Sports Science. And we're at 2727 Spring Creek Drive. If you come and request to speak to the principal, you will get to speak to the principal. So anybody wants to type in, call in, YouTube in, Facebook in, I'm inviting you to drive in to 2727 Spring Creek Drive, and you can sit in my office. I'll give you a tour. We'll go through curriculum. We'll do whatever you want to do. And yes, I put this up. Yes, we got an F rating from TEA. Yes, we got an F rating from TEA.
Talk about it. Talk about
If you look at the raw data, I'm not going to get into how they come up with the formula, but just the raw data. Our first year, we're not happy with where we were. Every kid didn't meet the criteria, but our goal, what we don't do in class, we don't do star packets. We don't have a star pep rally. We don't call people out to say, hey, quiet, we're star tested, and that's our focus. We don't do that. I've been a part of Big District. I've been a part of making a plan to ensure that we pass the star, and then kids go off and don't do great things. So, we're taking a comprehensive approach. We knew that was our first year. We have kids adjusting to what we're trying to accomplish. You talk about the Bobby Bonilla Day.
Yeah.
That would be a math problem on our campus because our teachers are looking for things to engage and make relevant to those students. Alfio Visa, he taught 6th grade math last school year. The year that we were deemed the F campus, Alfio had 80% passing in his first year as a teacher. And one of his problems was when Bryce Harper signed the $413 million contract, all of a sudden, when he introduced that number to a classroom full of boys who love sport, he didn't have to ask them to do another problem because they wanted to know how much he gets paid per double, how much he wants to get paid per triple, how much does he get paid for a home run. They were doing the research. They were finding out how many times what his stats were. So that's what we're doing. He didn't have to beg them and plead them to work. They were working for him. We had to come to the room to tell them to quiet down because they got so excited about it. So that's what we do.
Coach, I love that because we got a lot of more stuff for you, but I love that one. But what happened on this show is so interactive. So one of the people on our Facebook feed, B. Scott, she just asked a question, and maybe you can help us out. And all she said was, can they also speak to their AP and dual credit offerings? Yes. I'm finding the ISD dual credit options very limited, but AP is very broad. How do they compare? Can anybody answer that one for me?
Yeah. So that's Ralph.
Yeah. So we AP is basically a name brand, right? So and what AP does, it allows you to take those college courses credit across any university if those universities accept them. Okay. Right. Dual credit for most of the ISDs, the dual credit is through your local community college or junior college. So we're partnered with Lone Star, and again, all of that is just putting in the infrastructure of creating that partnership. But then our students have to qualify to take the courses. Right. So you still have to meet their standards. So again, we weren't planning to start offering dual credit classes into year 2. Okay. But this is what I'm talking about, how we serve. Our students came in. We didn't know the 400 students that came in the first year of school. We didn't know their family. Right. And you talk about, the different athletic programs are no longer going to play us. You should have seen the school districts holding on to the transcripts. So we couldn't even read the kids' transcripts. So it's a game all the way around of trying to hold on to the kid, because the kid is the money. The kid is the funding for the district. So when they're transferring to a charter school, you're transferring money out of the district. So that was that's the big debate, right? But the dual credit, we offer dual credit classes for whatever our students qualify for, right? So after we saw that kids wanted it, even in the first year when we felt like we weren't ready to support it, we fast-tracked it, right? We got those kids in who wanted it and were able to support it. And that's the difference between being a small charter school and a large institution, is that the large institution has to have all these frameworks in to minimize failure and success, where we can kind of turn on a dime. Is that what you want to do? All right, come on, let's do it. We can walk them through it. So we don't offer AP courses. We have the dual credit option. And then this year we're bringing in dual enrollment with the University of Texas.
Well, hold on, Jim. We're going to have to take a quick break because this is about to get good. I just got a feeling this is about to get real good. And we're going to bring Danielle in, too. It's Women Rock Wednesday. We're not going to leave her. But you know what I love about her? She said, oh, that's his. That's it. Yeah. She said, oh, that's his. When it comes to her expertise, she will chime in. So, Chop Shop, let me check. Let me find us a nice little commercial here. And let's find some. Oh, you know what? Let me do this one right quick.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour. The best 120 minutes of your day is already getting bright already. See, shout out to all the ladies out there. I see Ashley Jackson is joining us on the Facebook feed. So as B. Scott and Brandy Nickerson, Tamitra Wiley. I'm talking about they coming all in. Hey, one thing about the Chop Shop, it don't matter how to do it. It could be a bad hair day. But on Women Rock Wednesday, you can just throw a lid on, as me and maybe Miss Canada has done, and guess what? We still good to go. But on the Chop Shop, we have the administration, or part of the administration, from Legacy, the School of Sports Science, and that is located in North Houston. School has been open a couple of years, and already one thing about it, I think not many people are unaware about this program and this school and their existence. That's for doggone show.
Right.
The marketing is off the chain, indirectly, for as far as legacy, the School of Sports Science. We have with us Ralph Butler, Danielle Canada, and these are the principal and the athletic director, respectively. And we have a couple of questions in the Boom Boom Room that we'll toss right back to you. A while ago, and I know you can probably take the baton, Danielle. Ralph Butler talked about he tapped on the dual credits and the classes that you guys offered and a while ago. But now, one of the guests asked, can you take it a little further and go a little deeper, and want to know how does the dual enrollment impact your athletics and their credits?
And how does it? I'm not even really sure if I understand that question. How does it affect them as far as eligibility? Is that what they're?
Yes,
what they're implying?
Yes, yeah.
It is part of the eligibility process. So it's still going to count, obviously, towards graduation, and then for NCAA purposes, as long as it is reflected on their transcript, it is a countable course. So is that kind of what you're looking for there?
Yeah, I mean, yes, these are questions we're tossing to you guys from the Boom Boom Room. So sometimes it's the words typed, the words inputted, and the words outputted receive maybe two different contexts. But that's so we'll do our best to try to cipher them to you.
I would say it is not a negative effect on a student athlete. So
good deal. Now, earlier you mentioned about the TA and the F rating.
Yeah.
You said the F rating. Elaborating, you say, of course, you're not sure how the TEA concludes those ratings, but can you explain to a lot of people what the ratings, what they mean, not how they got them, but what do they mean, and what happens if a F rating is attained, if it's not improved upon?
So,
go ahead, Ralph.
So I understand how they get the rating.
Yeah.
I do understand how they get the rating. It's just it's more to it than just raw data. So we could spend a whole day on that. But the impact is that yesterday I sat through a 3-hour Zoom on planning for our academic programming because of that rating, right? So there's a lot more prescriptive planning that you have to do. Basically, what happens is if you demonstrate that your program didn't work, they come in and implement their program, right? So we have to follow their protocols now and be more prescriptive in our planning to meet, because what they're saying is, well, we know if you do these things this way, you should get this result. That's their philosophy. So there's a lot of, and if you have a F rating for multiple years, they can come in and shut your school down. So this isn't something for us to play around with. Not only that, just the stigma that it has on your campus, right? So one thing is, we know that there's no private school right now. There's no private school that gets the rating that's in the rating system that we're in, right? We won't even get rated this year because it's all about the STAR test, right? So now we're going to carry that F on until we're able to play a game again, if you want to put it in the sport analogy. We can't prove ourselves until the STAR test is put back in place. But what we do know is that parents come and they understand what we're about because we put it on the table for them. We're not trying to hide. Every parent that comes in, they meet with us and we have a discussion about what's in front of them and if Legacy fits them and their family and where they are. Legacy School of Sports Sciences is not for everybody. It is not for everybody. The way we go about things is a little different. So you got to be ready for it.
Yeah.
But Jimmy,
you got something, Adam?
Jimmy, I just got a comment I want to make, and I know you got a question after this. I'm listening over the last 2 weeks and listening and watching the parents, and the parents are satisfied. That's why I don't understand the noise from outside, Danielle. I'm watching the parents, my son, my daughter, my son and daughter, my son, my daughter, my son, my son, my son. I'm watching this over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, listen,
Listen, and I understand a wise man told me a long time ago, the biggest way to failure is trying to please everybody. That's why I'm so glad Mr. Butler just said, man, legacy ain't for everybody. It's not for everybody. But and I was thinking about it because there's an uproar because people are leaving these districts and the district people mad and the district people. But listen to me. If these kids were already gonna leave your district, why are you getting mad? I mean, and I know it might have been some undercurrent. Well, he stole my play. Let me tell you something. Can't nobody take your woman unless she want to be gone anyway. I'm gonna put it in street terms. If somebody that ran off with your girl, fellas, she wanted to leave anyway. Let me repeat that, because I think that went over everybody's head. If this your girl, and she comes jump in the car and go to LA with me, then she really ain't your girl no more. So let's understand that. And all I got to do, Jimmy, what you said, you got to charge it to the game. You got to start. You got to start charging it to the game. I am, and Jimmy might be on another side. I'm upset because, and maybe they can explain it to me a little bit more when this show's over. I'm upset with the school districts talking about, well, I ain't gonna play them. You play them, you got, homeboy. Come on, man. Y'all got to explain that to me. Somebody up high got to explain why you do that, because it's supposed to be about the students.
Sure.
It's supposed to be about the students. That ain't about no students. You can, and you ain't gonna. I'm not gonna let you blow smoke up my behind. That's not about no students. So I didn't mean to hijack that, but it's just something that just came over me, and I had to mention it. Jimmy, where you want to go from here?
Well, the question is, we were talking to Ralph Butler. You mentioned about the meeting on yesterday, the TEA meeting, the E meeting that you were part of, and the plans. So you could elaborate what exactly are those plans that stemmed from the meeting on yesterday?
So this doesn't have anything to do with what school will look like. It's more of strictly instructional planning, right? So building capacity, what our meeting agendas are going to look like, what our lesson plan template, procedural things. Academically, it has nothing to do with if we're coming back on whatever date, are we going to be virtual or things like that. That's an internal plan that we're working with under the guidance of TA with everybody else. But one thing that was different for us is that we were pushing digital and remote learning already prior to COVID. When you go to a university right now and we're watching the landscape of student athletes, and Danielle can talk about this a little bit more, but 95% of our kids want to become Division I athletes. So we're on these campuses looking to see what's happening. If you go onto a Division I campus right now, almost all of the schools are putting their kids on virtual learning. This is pre-COVID because it allows for flexibility, right? So now you can train at a high level. But I'm gonna turn that over to Danielle. But we're trying to put kids in place to be successful in their next steps in life, right? Mm-hmm. And so we have to project and put them on a trajectory that will allow them to be successful, not make sure that they're a great 17-year-old, right? We want them to be a great 25, great 30-year-old, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna turn it over to Danielle. I can do your whole 2-hour show.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can.
So, hey, Sean said, somebody just came over there and said, somebody came on and said a minute ago, let Mr. Principal Butler talk. So guess what? We're going to let you talk. But come on, Miss Cannon.
No, and Ralph is awesome. First of all, I think Carrie's done a heck of a job of assembling the team that we have. But back to your your question or statement there, Mr. Hatter. I would say, as a former Texas A&M Aggie, we have a saying: from the outside looking in, you don't understand it, right? So for those people that are on the outside looking in, you don't understand what we're trying to do, and that's why I think, having a platform like this to actually be able to speak to some of those questions is important. I think, for us and for me personally, as we were going through the shift in transfer students coming over and stuff like that, some of the comments that were coming out, I really was like, they really don't understand what we're about and what we're trying to do here. And I think that if more people did, certainly some of that would change. But, again, just like legacy's not for everybody, we're certainly not here to try to please everyone. We want to serve the students and the families that have committed to us and understand the vision and the mission and the purpose that we have for those students that leave our campus.
And let me add, Mr. Hatter, when you talked about, if your girlfriend wanted to leave, and the uproar came from the seniors leaving, right?
Yes.
So tell me why you spent 540 days with that girl and she wants to leave. 540 days. So you had 540 days to prove yourself. And she left with us, and we've been with 360 days. So, she wasn't with me for 360 days. So, that's the problem that we have. And here's another thing: we underestimated, or we were kind of naive in thinking we had this great program. Yeah. Every kid that was coming through our building in August the 19th, 2018. Wanted to come because of our programming. Right. What we quickly found out is that they were escaping something that they're not happy with, right? So they weren't coming because they believed in us. They were coming because they hated where they were. So, it's not we're offering an opportunity, but the other schools got to do their part as well. And the same thing with us. When we have a student that commits to us, we got to take care of them. Yeah. And that's what you heard PJ talk about last week. He said, I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve. You've had Carrie on there. We're here to serve. That is our philosophy here. When parents come on the campus, they're going to feel that. So that's why they're having those conversations and typing in and supporting us, because even if it doesn't work, we're still going to leave in a good relationship.
Wow. Now, you're saying if it doesn't work, what would constitute to it not working? At what point? So, you say even if it doesn't work. Can you elaborate? We got about 35 seconds.
Okay, so one quick thing is that we're trying to build responsibility for students. So we don't have bells on campus. We have a beginning of the day bell and the end of the day bell. Mm-hmm. So when I walk up to you and you're sitting on the picnic table, I'm going to say good morning, because that's my job to say good morning. My job is not to know what your schedule is. That's your job as an 11th grader, to know where you're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. So if you need me to micromanage you at 17, this might not be the place for you, right? Because your parents sent you to school to go to 7 classes. We made you a schedule for 7 classes. I'm not going to police you because you chose not to go get your 7 class. Go to your class. You know where you're supposed to be. So one of the things is we're trying to get them ready for the university setting. There are no bells at the University of Texas. There are no bells at Duke, right? So we're trying to let them practice what they're going to have to execute as an adult, not get them up there and have to practice and execute at the same time. So that's our philosophy, and it might not work for some kids. Some kids need a little more authority, a little more structure behind them, and that's not us.
I got one for y'all. What we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break, but I want you to ponder on this one. Brandon Nicholson she said, I'm new. What is different about legacy? And then we're going to answer that when we come back. And let me tell y'all, this subject, when I knew this subject was great, when we start getting trolls, see, I'm not great at getting rid of them trolls, but guess what? I just did it just then. So,
Alan, you swung at a dead fly. I had already sprayed raid on it. I'd kill it.
No, I
killed
him. I killed him too. What are you
I
talking about?
fly spot.
Okay, all right.
You got.
Well, he got double. He got double hit then.
I'm saying he was dead when you hit it. I had already got it.
Okay.
Zapper.
Hey, Jimmy, guess what? Did you report him? I reported him for harassment. How about that?
No.
Okay. I did all that. Okay.
I ain't calling the law. I'm gonna law his ass myself. I ain't gonna call the law.
What's going on?
Jimmy, the reason I did it, I couldn't breathe. So that's why I did it. But Chop Shop, we'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
Welcome to another episode of Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. I've read your emails, I've heard you, so I'm going to start this episode a little bit different by reading an email that gave me hope, changed my life, and I promise it'll do the same for you. Lynn wrote, "Dear Emmanuel, I grew up in the 1940s. My family were good people who were unconsciously racist. Negro was a term we used. Racism, like religion, was drummed into me. It's hard every day to choose not to judge, but I'm listening. I'm 73 and I'm still learning. Don't give up on people like me. I'm awake now and determined to wake others up. Bless you, my brother and my son." Well, Lynn, I won't give up on you. And that's why I'm back here in our safe space to have another uncomfortable conversation. You see, so many of y'all have sent emails and I've read them, and there are three consistent themes and questions that have been asked that I want to address. The first being, well, Emmanuel, what about the broken Black family? What about the lack of Black fathers? Isn't that the biggest contributing factor to the lack of success for Black people? Statistically, you may be right. 64% of Black people grow up in a home with one parent, as opposed to 24% of white people. Growing up in a single-parent home, it makes you 4 times more likely to be impoverished, twice as likely to drop out of school, and significantly more likely to end up in jail. But I thought about and I realized it's not that Black people don't know how to love. It's not that Black people don't know how to commit. Think about the history. The initial fracture in the broken Black family, the initial fracture in the Black home, it started with slavery. Prior to 1865, remember, Black people were viewed as property, not people. When Black people wanted to engage in marriages, they were called abroad.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour, the best 120 minutes of your day, 54 minutes past the hour. That's right, 54 minutes past the hour. We have with us administration from Legacy, the School of Sports Sciences, located in North Houston in the Spring area. We have Ralph Butler, we have Danielle Canada, and I'm talking about, this great convo going on, and what they're doing, one of the main reasons they are joining us today is to dispel, make an attempt to dispel many of the rumors or critics that are out there, angling towards their school and their program. And in case you missed it, if you don't forget, you can always go back and rewatch the Chop Shop, even though we're streaming live right now on multiple platforms, YouTube, Facebook. If you're on the YouTube feed, give us a thumbs up if you're over there right now. Shout out to everybody over there. And I see Daryl Barnes is just logged in, Roderick Chadman, Ken Lutz. I see Sean Canada in there, Cameron Allen, just name a few on that particular screen right there. And they're rolling many more over in the Facebook feed. Hey, man, guys, how about taking out the time to share the show right now to your timelines and many of your groups, your friends, and whatnot. Shout out to Kat Jordan is joining them. Barry McDonald's up in there right now. I see Lil Rick up in the house.
Lil Rick talking crazy already. I tell Lil Rick, I'm gonna put him in Facebook jail.
No, Lil Rick, good people. And so now speaking back into the conversation and some of your questions, and we have from Ken Lutz, and his question is, what has been Legacy's biggest challenge besides the hate and the perception from the public?
I'll allow Ralph to speak on it too, but I think from my standpoint, I think probably overcoming the traditional mindset, right? And getting folks to actually understand and buy into what we're doing. I think the question before the break was what makes Legacy different. We are a small campus. We are really student focused, right? We are a campus that is making every attempt to expose students to the careers and industry in the industry of sport, right? We want to enable kids to manage themselves, learn how to be accountable, and as Ralph alluded to earlier, treating them like adults that we want to see them become, right? So empowering them with responsibilities that they may not have on other campuses. We want to put people in front of them that are going to support the practical elements of it, so that we're not just talking at kids, right? So we're actually putting them in positions to actually execute the things that maybe people have been saying to them, but they can actually see it. And then we've got a building full of former student athletes. I think, 80 or 90% of our teachers are former student athletes or pros, right? I don't know where else you will probably find that. And the relevancy with that is that they can have conversations with kids on a day-to-day basis that they may not get somewhere else. And we can actually understand what they're trying to do, and what they want to do and what it takes to be able to do that. I think also for myself, having the opportunity actually to be able to sit down with that prospective student athlete, or heck, just someone who's strongly interested in the sports industry. I can speak to all of those elements just because of my experience, right? And some folks don't even know that I have a very extensive background in college athletics, right? Having served as a Division I conference commissioner at 4 different conferences. I've been on campus at 3 different universities. I've also worked in pro sports, right? So I've worked in event management. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. So all the things that we talk about at Legacy, coaching, athletic administration, sports medicine, all of those elements I've touched. NCAA initial eligibility. I've worked in compliance, right? So I can have realistic conversations with kids and parents and help them navigate not only just the industry of sports piece, but when they start getting involved in the recruiting, being able to have those real conversations and be able to help them navigate. And that's something that I think, if we could bottle up, and I say it all the time, bottle up all the value added stuff that our students and our parents get by being at Legacy, it would be amazing. But some people can't see it, right? But there's a lot of value over here at Legacy. So.
Well, Mr. Butler, what you got?
So the biggest challenge is like starting any company from scratch, right? That you got to find people that believe in your vision and your mission, and then be able to carry it out, execute it. The problem is for us is that the system that we're trying to create, none of us have been through this system, right? I don't think there's too many athletes, from kindergarten through, or former athletes that can look back on their school experience and say, every one of my teachers encouraged my dream every year that I was in school, right? And so that's what we're trying to do. So when we hold our athletes to a higher standard, we're saying that because we know on the ticker at ESPN, that ticker that runs underneath, you're not getting sent home because you missed a shot. You're getting sent home because you couldn't follow team rules, because you're off-campus issues. So that's what we're trying to create, is an environment that helps the whole kid for their next step, right? You can't go from a 400 student campus with predominantly students that look just like you, and then go to a 50,000 student campus with kids who don't look like you and transition easily, right? So those are the conversations we have, and that we try to mentor and guide kids through day to day. But the challenge is getting people to see that, and then bringing the experience together to say, okay, let's put this plan in place to move kids through.
And
Now-
Mr. Butler and Coach Jimmy, I want to interject just a little here, because we haven't talked about this. One of the things that attracted to me to this school in the very beginning, Kerry came on our show in the school inception. But let me show you something. We were talking about the sports industry. I'm in the sports industry. I travel all over the world. I go to all these events, and I'm watching the people, our guys, the black guys are out there playing. But every other thing, the technical aspect, the logistical aspects of the putting on the game, those things are predominantly white in every arena you go in. If you go and travel in enough arenas, and what I was thinking about in this school, y'all trying to let these kids know it's more than sports, it's business. We're gonna train y'all for some of those careers or some of those. You don't just have to be a player, you can be the GM. You don't have to be the player, you can be the president. You don't have to be the player, you can be the guy that somebody got to run, somebody with computer savvy got to run the scoreboard. Somebody got to be the trainer. Somebody got to be the doctor. Miss Canada, it's not always about a player. That's what attracted me to the mission that seemed like she was trying to do. That was her goal in the beginning, to introduce our kids to something else.
Yeah.
Instead of being
Well,
a
and
player.
I think having the word sports in our school name, that's going to garner a level of attention that's going to be attractive to athletes, right? So the first thing you think is sports, right? You come over and participate in our sports. I tell kids all the time that you're going to live a lot longer than you're going to play sports. The other thing that I did not mention is that I am also a former student athlete, two-sport student athlete, Division I, right? Everybody's going to have a last game, right? So what are you going to do after that, right? And I've spent the last 20 plus years working in college sports and just sports in general. I've not had a job outside of sports. So the jobs are there, the opportunities are there, and they're not just limited to you're on the field and on the court opportunities. And I loved and fell in love with the concept because it is so very true. And then, having been, on that college level, I would much rather have somebody that has some experience in those things than to have somebody that just sat in class and came out. If I've got somebody that knows how to go run the clock, right? Who knows how to, do game notes, stats, different things, like those are all jobs, right? Our campus, because we have sports, we're going to host events. When you host events, there are so many jobs that go into just that one event.
Thank you.
That our campus is a lab for that, right? So they can get true opportunities to fail. If they mess up, hey, you know what? That's okay. We can pick you back up. We can support you and show you something different. But now we're graduating kids that, whether they choose to go into the sports industry or not, if they land on a college campus and hey, they really kind of enjoy, the stats part of it or whatever the case may be, you go to that athletic department, I could probably make a call for you. And they can start, interning and gaining experience. But,
let me add, just kind of walk you through what we want to see happen one day.
Yes.
So they learn in the classroom all the industry of sports medicine, media and marketing, coaching, athletic administration. On Friday night, we have a football game.
Yep.
When the 100 parents and families come in, there's a kid taking their ticket. Then they go to the concession stand. There's a kid taking and preparing their food. They go on the to the field. They see kids holding the chain in the box. Well, not the box, because the referee gonna make it. But then you're gonna have our sports medicine team under the advisement of our athletic trainer. Then you have what we hope on the play, number 34 with the tackle, coming from kids, right? So they're going to get an experience. We have a student right now. He is our director, our student director of basketball operations. He's a 10th grader, right? Yes. He has seen every college coach that comes in, right? So he's getting more exposure than the players. Yep. The coach is coming for a 6-foot center or a point guard. Well, they still got to see him, right? They still have to meet him. He has, I want to say, I can't verify this, but from conversations, I believe he has offers on the table.
He does
already, because he has been so impressive to the college coaches that come in. So it's a value that we're providing, other than being an elite athlete that has a 36-inch vertical, right? That is 6'6" and can run a 4.3, right? This kid is a 10th grader. He's 15 years old. Then got referred over to the Toyota Center to help run one of the shoot-arounds for a university tournament. So we're talking about experience for a 15-year-old. He has a portfolio, right? Yes. So those are things we do. You know, Merrill Hodge. I don't like to name drop, but you know, Merrill Hodge sat in Kerry's office with us with 4 students for an hour and a half and just talked to them. Wow. He gave them his personal email address. He talked to them. He blew our schedule out of order because he just wanted to talk to the kids. Where are you going to find time where a school that gives access to a national figure in sport, as a player and as a sport media person, right? Hour and a half of that time, and then before he got on the plane, he emailed them, right? So they already have a professional network at 15.
Ralph,
that's what we're trying to do.
Ralph, we got to go to a break, but you hit me on that one. And Ralph, that's why we have to, Coach Canada, Mr. Butler, Kerry, I know, we have to do everything we can to turn that rating, whatever that is that's jeopardizing the further the development of this school. We got to, as a community, we got to go in and make it right, because we can't take it from a guy who's been in the sports industry for 30 years. Never heard nothing like that. Never happened to nowhere on this planet. I travel all over the world. Nowhere. We got to make sure it happens. But Chop Shop, we're going to be back as soon as I find this commercial. We're going to be back. I'm going to let you finish this combo with a black man.
You may be right. Significantly more likely the home belonged to one owner while the wife and children belonged to another. And as a result, the husband would only be able to see his family on Wednesdays and Saturdays, so long as his owner, his master, permitted. So when I think about that, I understand that this fracture in the broken black family, the reason it exists to a degree is because marriage has only been lawful for black people for 5 generations. To put that in context, my grandparents wouldn't have been allowed to be married. I don't say that as an excuse, but I say that to give you understanding, my white brothers and sisters. I say that to give you empathy, my white brothers and sisters. You know, another question I get asked, well, Emmanuel, if I as a white woman want to wear braids, how do I know that I'm not being offensive? What is this concept of cultural appropriation? And I think about 2 things. In the late 1800s, Jim Crow laws were formed and they disenfranchised black people. But you want to know where the name Jim Crow came from? It came from a main character in black minstrel shows, where a white person would paint on black face and take red lipstick and draw big red lips on their mouth because lips, full lips, were a distinguishing trait of black people. And they would take these traits and mimic and mock black people. And traits that have been used and attributes and parts of black culture that were once mimicked and mocked and made a fool of are now celebrated when a white person does it. In 2020, in the doctor's office, lip injections, they occur every 20 minutes. Beyond that, plagiarism, it's always been viewed as offensive when we all realize that. So while imitation may be the highest form of flattery, plagiarism, that is problematic. So wearing braids as a white person or borrowing black culture, that's not the issue.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour, the best 120 minutes of your day. Don't forget, guys, immediately after the Chop Shop, I will be moderating with a group of current and former college coaches in the game. We're talking about, it's part of the 360 series that's hosted by Washington, George Washington head coach, as he was on yesterday on the Chop Shop. So don't forget, guys, that's going to be powerful. The topic will be battling stigmas, and that's going to be great because and that's why a lot of you guys notice I'm saving. I don't have my lemons out here, but I'm saving a little bit of my voice, so that I can be able to go for another 2 hours immediately after the show. That's 3 p.m. Central Time, which the stream will start. You can go over to rcssports.com, rcssports.com, and you'll see the link that will take you directly. You'll see the flyer, and the link will take you so that you may get some of that broadcast this afternoon. Also, now I've joined with us, of course, Ralph Butler, Danielle Canada from Legacy, the School of Sports Sciences, and just grooving along, and they are here dispelling the myths and also sharing, intel and information about the school, Legacy, the School of Sports Sciences. And as you guys may or may not know, the school, every student at the school must engage in some component related to the sports sector. So whether it be everything varying from sports medicine to communications to being the athlete it's themselves, as far as preparing them for the collegiate, for the next phase and possibly the phase after that. Meanwhile, we have questions that are coming from not only from the email box. You have them coming to the YouTube feed, coming to the Facebook feed, text. And also people are text messaging questions as well. Everybody doesn't. Some people are at work and they don't want their names on the timelines, or they want, because their bosses might be watching the Chop Shop as well. So you guys have to understand that. And so one of the questions we have is going back, and it is in regarding the legacy. The question is, it's a two-part question. Mm-hmm. Do you currently have certified teachers in the classroom? If so, how many? If not, why? And do you believe certified teachers are better equipped to serve the students?
So the requirement as a state charter is that you don't have to have certified teachers. What we require in our charter is that you're either certified or in a program to be certified, and then we offer you two years, to finish that certification program, to solidify the credentials, and that's not necessarily for our benefit, but also for the teacher, right? Because we know in the public school, in a traditional ISD, they don't have that option. So if we have a head coach here who's just been in the private school and their dream is to be a 6A state champion coach, man, you got to get that certification because you're going to need that certification to fulfill your dream. So we don't, yes, we want certified, we want content knowledge experts, right? Yes. And that's what we're trying to bring in, are experts, those who can impact kids' lives. I'm going to my 23rd year. I've seen some great certified teachers. I've seen some not great certified teachers. Myself, I was a certified teacher. 1 year in my life, I was the most poisonous teacher in the building.
What you mean poison?
I was undermining the principal, going around, and everybody had to come see me. So oh man, the principal should be doing this. The school should be doing. That's me. I was the most poisonous person, fully certified at 21 out of college. And I'm on campus wrecking the culture that somebody else was building. So I understand what, the credentials are, but really it's about bringing like-minded people together, right? And then alignment with your vision and your mission. And that's what we're doing. Now, like I said, we want content now, so everybody's versatile. So everybody on our campus is either in a program for core content areas, especially. So everybody is either in a program or certified in the core content areas. Now, when you're talking about bringing in expertise from industry, that might not always equate, right?
Right.
So, like, tell me, you don't want LeBron to teach your kid?
He ain't certified. He ain't certified.
Correct. So again, we're looking for change agents, right? Okay. Folks who are going to make an impact on kids' lives, who believe in empowering students, not bringing authority to kids. Let me tell you, one of our policies here is to showcase that we don't have to police underprivileged kids and kids who are of color. We don't have officers walking the campus because we're connected to our kids. You tell me a kid's name on our roster right now, I'll tell you if they belong on our campus. We know our kids. Our kids are connected, so we don't have to police our kids that way, right? So those are the kind of things that make us different. And not saying I was on a campus with 3,200 kids in my career as an assistant principal. As an assistant principal for 9 years, I've suspended over 10,000 students because I was following policy. I've sent kids to alternative school because I followed policy for 180 days, and the initial charge was dress code violation. Right? That's not right. That's a policy. So now we're in a position to write policy that makes sense for kids and then practice it. You want to know what else is different? The other thing is different is that we allow you to practice being responsible. Right. Most adults teach responsibility, but don't allow you to practice it, right? So we're going to tell you, and then now go practice being responsible. And then when you fall out of bounds, we bring you back in bounds, right? But you got to allow them to throw the ball. You can't, if you're coaching all day and you don't allow them to take a snap, then you're not coaching. All you're doing is talking, right? So we're allowing them to practice the things that are going to allow them to be successful as an adult. And that's the difference at Legacy. And the policies that we have are pro student. We can talk through almost any situation on our campus that'll come out to talk about bettering a kid's life.
Now I want to just give some intel so that you guys can understand the concept of legacy. I'm totally a fan of the concept. Totally. But however, the energy you will not get from me right now, because before Legacy, I had the similar conversation with Victory Prep, and they gave me even a different infrastructure of a school, but the concept was the academic component. That's why most of the questions that I presented was pertaining to the TEA. So that's why you understand. So you're seeing, remember before coming on, you guys knew you were coming to offset or to respond to those questions related to the TEA, not your basketball team. I haven't asked you one basketball question, one football question. I haven't asked you one thing of what Afio does with his video, because the TEA is the thing that determines whether your school remains open. Before Legacy, that was the Victory Prep. And so I spoke with Lisa Berry Dockery face to face. And she looked me in the eyes and explained to me that everything was peaches and cream. And I asked her about, they had criticism. Very much, and we loved Pastor Kirby John, and who had the umbrella for which that school was up under. So then come to find out, what she had told me and a lot of others wasn't in parallel to what was on the documentation when they decided to take actions against the school, they meaning TEA. Before them was Christian Life. Different scenario, different component, but when people have questions about that component or concerns, same type of thing. They gave you a spiel, and sure enough, it did. Before them, it was Gulf Shores. I sit down with Miss Johnson about 15 years ago, who ran Gulf Shores program that was over on now it's a torn down office building that was over off the South Main and Post Oak. And she, same thing. I was wet behind the ears in the game then. So, but same type of spiel. So me, it's like I've been told everything is going to be great and all right, which minus the optimism. You're supposed to be optimistic, but when questions I've been told before, and it's been shown every time I went to bat for each one of those, because based on what they told me, and I didn't understand the TEA and understand that even though my mom was a school teacher for 37 years, that don't mean I understood what the TEA and how they work with the STAR test and all that stuff. Back when I was coming up, it was an hour test of basic skills. It wasn't a STAR test back then, as you guys may know. So, and Mr. Butler, so understand where, give me the time to understand, or try to get the understanding that I've been burned after going to bat, because I went to hell of a bat for Victory Prep. And then when the plug get put out of the sink, then people look at me and say, Hicks, you said everything. So that means they're not going to, and that's kind of like, so that's where I am right now. Whereas I'm right there, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you to make it. But at the same time, to go and pass the message to the next person that everything is glory, that we're not worried about that F rating. It's going to be okay. There's not much. There's nothing that you could do outside of this classroom with those kids with the number 2 pencils in their hands taking that STAR test. There's nothing that we can do. It's up to them. And the way that stuff works is that the TA will send people in to observe. So it comes down to preparing those kids, getting them ready, and increasing those scores. And if they do, then it's parade time, because they will have withstood the elements in that first wave of it. Meanwhile, the basketball and the football team, they just need to just win. As I told PJ last week, you just got to win. So that's what I want to give you guys, so you guys have interesting.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
And I'm gonna let you come in. We're gonna have to take. No, we might just go through the break this time. But Jimmy, what's so interesting? You said you had experience in dealing with this 16 years ago. I think you said. Then
I had experience with a person, with the administrators telling me that everything is good and that don't believe what they're talking about.
Okay,
we got it.
And all of these years, since 16 years ago, have you figured out? Have you found out more information so people can't just tell you things are okay? What information do you need? Because you vouch for this guy. You vouch for this guy. That means you didn't have all the information. did you go and research that? Since it's part of what you know, evidently you inserting yourself into it, and you don't want to give out no bad dope, as you say. Have you educated yourself on how this thing works now compared to 16 years ago? That's a question for you, Jim.
What now? I just provided you with 2 pieces of intel that I'm abreast to now, and that's how the TEA will monitor. Like Mr. Butler just said a while ago, they didn't come. To this year doesn't even count because there's no STAR test. So they measure everything off that test. And yesterday, ironically, in the news, the federal, I guess the government just announced STAR tests will resume in 2021. I know you guys may have saw it on the news yesterday. It just ironically just said it. So what they do is they will send a monitor into the classrooms only during test time. Now they may drop by unexpectedly, but they know they're coming for test time. So that way now it's understood. That means like before I would get like, let's go do something. Let's go fight the power and keep these guys open. It ain't nothing we can do on this end. Not right now. On this end, it comes down to them whenever they take that test in the spring, what those results are going to be. And they're going to have somebody probably in that room, present on campus, which they know that they're coming.
Hey, Jimmy, I can tell you right now, if you really, there is something you can do without endorsing us, right? You can provide us 1,000 laptops today. So that when they come to take the test, we have had the opportunity to compete with the ISD who has, additional $1,300 revenue per kid, right? So we're still coming down to resources and things like that. All we want is the opportunity to speak to the parent and the kid to see if this fits for them. Can they handle our bumps and bruises and our growing pains till we get out of it? That's all we're asking for. We're saying, don't throw darts at us and you've never been on our campus, right? That the concern is legitimate. When us going through the NCAA core course evaluation program, that was a 2-year process for us to ensure that when our kids graduate from this campus, they can receive their Division I scholarship or their NCAA scholarship, right? It doesn't have to be Division I, but NCAA, they got to get through the clearinghouse. So we're going through those steps, and we came through, right? So we can't say everything is peaches and cream. Right. That's not what we're saying. Right. What we're saying is every measure except for the STAR test. Every measure that they've come and talked to us about except for the STAR test. And then just pull up the raw data. If you pull up our 80% in math and put it against our middle schools in our area, we outperformed them. Yes. It was the group of schools we were being judged against. Yes. Right? So if you look at our surrounding, the district that we sit in, and then the middle schools that our kids came from, 3 of the 4 have Fs. So if we pull kids that came from losing schools or what they call losing schools, we're not going to be able to make that make up the difference in 100 days. But we talked to our parents about all of those things when they came in. So they know what they're getting into. We're not hiding anything, right? I'm out here on campus now, right? Like anybody want to come right now, they can come right now.
Pull up.
Right now.
Pull up.
I'll open the gate, it'll be me and them. Talk about, and we can go through scheduling, and here's the unique part, right? We got a student that transferred in. He said he wanted to know why we had dress code, right? So we talked through, had some debate and this and that and whatever. I said, I tell you what, if you can score in the paint, free dress the whole year.
That's real.
Wait a minute, say it again, Mr. Principal. Say it one more time.
I said, if you can score on me in the paint, if you can score a bucket on me in the paint, will have free dress the whole school year. He's 6'7". He plays every day. It took him 4 times to score him.
Wow.
So I was just a little concerned about our basketball team that somebody's 6'7", and I'm 5'9". And basketball was my third sport. So that's the thing. Is now having that conversation with the kid about, are you really ready? First of all, you underestimated by the way I looked. That I played from the 1988 rules. So I fouled him, right? So I fouled him so I could get to the victory. So those are the interactions having with students, and now he's going to present a more formal presentation on why we should have dress, because I was open to him, right? I went to him to see, hey, let's start this dialogue, right? So that's what's, the sports is gonna take care of itself. He's 6'7". They coming, right? He's 6'7". Mm-hmm. But when they come, are you gonna blow them out the water with your presentation? Because you've already had to practice presenting to the person who changes policy on campus. Find me a campus that allows the 6'7" basketball player to come in and change policy, help change policy on a campus. That's what we're talking about, the difference of engaging kids in real activity that they're gonna need. That's what we want. All I want is the opportunity. If you're interested in Legacy School Sports Sciences, come visit. The first question I'm gonna ask you is, how did you hear about us? Why do you want to attend? Not that we have everything going on that's great. This stuff here that, man, I'm not gonna get into some of it, but just the challenge of I drive 36 miles every day, or 36 miles one way, because of the opportunity, right? That's what this is about. We have people coming because we believe in the mission and vision of the campus. I'm telling you, I drove 3 miles in 1998. I drove 3 miles from my house to create chaos on the campus, right? So this is what we're talking about. It's the journey, and then knowing that just because you start off bad or you hit the road somewhere, Jimmy, the analogy I'll give to you is the 1987 Hyundai and the 2018 Hyundai is not the same Hyundai.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So the value that you can get now with, you would never be able to convince my parents to buy a Hyundai because they saw 1987 Hyundai. Right? Mm-hmm. But today's Hyundai, shoot, man,
yeah. Nice.
Seen that G90?
Yes, sir.
Right? So that's what we're talking about. Is
but
that
the mechanic is the same.
Yeah, but the designer is not.
The design is not. We're not talking about design. The mechanic is the same.
Jimmy, let's not talk about the mechanics in the BMW. Let's not talk about the mechanics in them BMWs.
Yeah, it's
the mechanic is the same.
No, they have to learn a little bit more, Jimmy.
No. You how to understand what I'm talking about. He knows him as the same mechanic.
I understand too. I'm clear.
And that same mechanic is James' mechanic. So whether taking a Toyota in there or a Bentley is going, that's Greg Wise' mechanic. And he has a Bentley as well. Yeah. So do you know that what I'm talking about? That mechanic is the same.
So the same mechanic isn't for Episcopal, St. Thomas, St. Pius, or any of those, right? So when you're talking about the elite, and we can get in the debate of if STAR is valuable or not. Do you think the elite group of folks, if STAR was a indicator of success in life, do you think people who are paying $27,000 a year, and there's a true indicator of my child being success, you think they would miss out on that? No. So the STAR is a portion of what society is trying to do, but that's not the end goal for us. The STAR is a hurdle. It's not the finish line. You go to some campuses, the STAR is the finish line. After STAR, the parent or the students are like, school's out, because the whole focus was STAR, and that is not. That should never happen. That's a test, right? From the coaching side, do you circle the last game or the most important the best coaches don't circle the most important game and only talk about this game. They talk about week to week, day to day. Those best practices are going to end up in success.
But Mr. Butler, that same thought can be applied in athletics to the SAT, which is outdated by some. But that's the measuring stick which is used to be eligible to play Division I basketball.
Yeah,
it's one of them. Very similar to the RPI.
2.3 GPA, of course, that they just modified from 2.0 or 4 years ago. So that's part of it. But at the same time, that's a measuring stick. Mm-hmm. And remember, the GPA used to be 2.0, and they modified it to 2.3. Mm-hmm. So those are the thresholds that you must attain. Just like that, and just like the stars on the academic side.
But what I'm saying is the star. If we had 65% passing rate on star math, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter that we got 65%. It matters the group that we're with. What did they do? The group of 40 that we're matched against. What did they do? They don't put every school up against each other and say if everybody gets 65% or everybody gets 80%, this is your grade. They say based on the group of people who look like, just like divisions, right? Or rankings, like you're in that group. How did you perform in that group? So there was some paperwork side of stuff that we need to do that we didn't get from parents and we didn't focus on because we didn't think we should focus on it. And that'll get us in the right group to be in the proper position. Right. But what I'm saying is just if you go back and look at raw data from every campus, there's some campuses that had 55% passing math scores that got a C, right? So there's other things in that form that come into play that's not what I want parents to worry about. I want parents to come on our campus, visit with us, walk the campus, talk to their family, and decide, is Legacy School of Sports Science the best fit for my family? We have families that have one kid here and another kid somewhere else. It doesn't fit for every kid in every family. And that's okay. And that's what we're trying to say. Don't, if you haven't been here, like I can't say a Hyundai is bad if I never driven one, right? So that's the thing.
Let me help you out, Ralph and Jimmy. Jay Jackson brought up, he said, yesterday's mechanics were today's technicians. So it ain't mechanic no more, Jimmy. We got technicians out here working.
They still the same person. Their job has changed. Yesterday's maid is today's janitor. That's all.
No, yesterday's domestic engineer.
Yesterday's referee is today's official. You know what I'm saying? Everybody changed their name.
Tomatoes.
Hey, I went by Bissonnet off Bissonnet in 59 a couple of weeks ago. I was going down that way to go out to A-Lee to our mechanic, and guess what? They're not called what they used to be called no more. That's over there by the High Dimension Church. They call something else.
What they call them girls now?
What? How do you know what's over there? How do you know what's over there?
Jimmy, we got the same mechanic. I got to pass by there also.
Why you go that way? You could have went the Beltway.
I did. I cut off on Wilcrest. I don't go all the way down there no more. Yeah. There's too many of them laws down there.
I don't know anything that y'all talking about.
So we going over everybody's head right now, Jimmy. Let's go.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Butler, you mentioned HISD. You HISD product. What school tells your HISD resume? Because you never mentioned it.
From work, my work resume. I worked at Chavez High School. I worked at Rodriguez Elementary School, Cunningham Elementary School. I got my start in North Forest in 1995. North Forest, Miss Mack, Daisietta Mack told me, son, if you can teach here, you can teach anywhere in the world. I said, in the world? And she was correct. They set a foundation of being able to handle any type of student. So as a student, I went to Longfellow Elementary. I went to Pershing. I was a Pershing Panda. and then I was a Bel Air Cardinal as a student.
So what year you come out of Bel Air?
1991.
You was down with Terrell Henderson?
Terrell Henderson.
Played basketball.
Oh, yep.
All I can tell y'all, Jimmy, I'm glad he didn't go to Kashmir. Thank God. Thank you, Ralph, for not mentioning Kashmir.
He mentioned Persian. Ask him what happened when they played against Key or Terrell back in them days.
Long as he didn't say Kashmir, I'm all right.
In what sport? In what sport, Jimmy?
In Key in football or basketball. Terrell in football or basketball.
Okay, so I don't know because my sport is baseball. So if they ever stepped on the field with us from there, it was in the 90s. We can't even discuss it. You can't even discuss it.
So hey man, any last thoughts, Danielle, about the legacy and your experience? Why should a parent send their kid that's right now going through the pandemic? Because a lot of people are contemplating what to do going to the school year. Why should a parent send their kid to Legacy? And the second part I would leave you with is have you guys seen an increase or a decrease in enrollment for the upcoming term, or is it too early to call?
I think it might be too early to call, but what I will say is, if you're looking for a campus community that's going to allow some flexibility and provide your kids with an opportunity and exposure in their areas of interest, if you're looking for an environment that is going to, as Ralph indicated already, that's going to honor your passion, you need to consider Legacy. And we're going to equip the students with tools that they're going to be able to use, because our end game is after high school, all right? So whether that's college or trade school, we want to make sure that you leave our campus confident and feeling empowered to be able to do that, make that transition, and then also leave with a network of people that certainly can help you along the way in your adult life.
And give me your resume real quick again, Danielle. A lot of people missed it earlier. We just had. It wasn't fair. We just had Mr. Butler.
Jimmy, it's pinned on the Facebook feed. It's pinned.
Yeah, but everybody's not in Facebook, Howard. We got YouTube visitors right now. They can't see that. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So my resume, just real quick. I am from Austin, Texas. I played at John H. Reagan High School. Graduated and went on to Texas A&M University, where I competed as a Division I student athlete, two-sport, track and basketball. And then I've also been an associate commissioner at the Ohio Valley Conference, the Mid-American Conference, the SWAC. Did I leave one out? And the Ohio Valley Conference. Yeah, and then I've also served on a number of NCAA committees, also been an NCAA site rep. I was also the founding member of the Collegiate Event and Facility Management Association, or CEFMA. Also was the WNBA President's Award winner for selling the most tickets that year, helping the San Antonio bring the Silver Stars to the state of Texas. And then also, I've been a DOBO. I was a director of basketball operations at Texas State. My last stint on campus was at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, where I was an assistant athletic director for compliance, dealing specifically with initial eligibility. And that's the Cliff Notes version. I'll just leave it at that.
It's women rock Wednesday.
There you go.
But before Ralph goes, Jimmy, I want him to clear this up. I want you to clear this up on your last statement. Clear this up for me, because we got somebody on the YouTube feed named Ken Lutz. And I want you to clear this up perfectly, because I didn't get this, but seemed like he did, so we want to clear him up. He said, I'm a fan of Legacy and its concept, but those doors were closed with their mindset about star. You have to play the hand you're dealt with. Black excellence is the goal to be of a black business. you did not have a cavalier, to my knowledge, as much you don't have a cavalier attitude about the star. You just was going, you and Jimmy was going, just had y'all points about it. Could you really explain him? Because sometimes if Jimmy ain't said it, Ken Lutz might not get it. So maybe it need to come from you, Ralph. He felt that, y'all go, if y'all got a mindset like that. I didn't get that mindset, and I want you to be clear about how you feel about the STAR test.
Well, it's an indicator that we have to meet to get the measurement from TEA, right? Mm-hmm. But I didn't get into education to have kids pass the test, right? So I'm in education and building a program that is focused on the whole kid, right? There are no STAR tests for seniors. So if our campus was solely focused on STAR tests, what would we do with seniors, right? And so what I'm saying is we have a program in place that we believe if you do what you're supposed to do day to day, minute to minute, the STAR test will take care of itself, right?
But Ralph, so if the STAR test is the thing that's holding you up, shouldn't special attention be paid to it? My personal philosophy is that I don't think we should go 100% all in on STAR tests only. If you would see, in our post, our end of the year, last school year, 2019, when I was presenting STAR data to parents, we had kids who were shaking behind 6th grade test result, right? And these are kids that passed, but the level of anxiety that comes over. So it's not just pass or fail or cavalier. You're talking about the mindset of a kid at sixth grade, they're having conversations about STAR tests. They shouldn't be having conversations about STAR tests. They should be having conversations about practice, right? And participation, not getting over the fear of taking a test, right? And so it's no different than in sport that, you can focus on, if y'all went 2 for 18 from the free throw line, you're not going to spend the entire practice just working on free throws, That's great,
right?
man.
You're going to still run your program, and then you're going to look a little deeper and say, oh, well, 10 of those free throws, those missed, came from so-and-so. So let's go get so-and-so and have him practice a little more, right? So we're not just doing this whole blanket, right? We're trying to be precise about where we attack and where our resources, but I'm not going to put, a kid that is on that trajectory in STAR prep just to say, our focus is on STAR prep. So we don't have a cavalier attitude. We have a holistic attitude and approach about addressing student needs, right? That's it.
I just wanted you to get that out. Man, thank y'all so much, man. Jimmy got to go into his thing. We're not gonna yabba dabba do this thing. We're gonna send Jimmy out. And I guess I'll do the last 10, 15 minutes. But I enjoyed y'all coming on. Y'all cleared up some things for me, and I'm glad. That was a great question from Ken Lutz, and because you got a chance to come back and clean it up. But thank you so much. Thank you, Kerry Brown, Alfio, Chad, Coach PJ, everybody out there, man. I'm putting for Coach. That's a smart thing, Coach. You got me thinking, Mr. Butler. But we will get with. Hey, we'll do this again, Jimmy. I know we're gonna do it again. But thank you so much for coming on the show today. Appreciate it. Okay.
Thanks for having us.
I know.
Of course, that is Ralph Butler, Danielle Canada on the Chop Shop. And of course, Haller's going to take the plane on in. I got to run over to prepare for the platform over on the, which is posted on the Facebook feed, you guys can see it at the bottom of the screen. That is the link to view the moderation, the panel of which is going to, I mean, you see all these coaches, it's been taking place all day long. I mean, it's just a star-studded panel, and we'll have a great convo. Keep this thing going. But thanks so much for you guys taking out the time. Thanks so much for the viewers out there and everybody who kept the Boom Boom Room, kept it live today. And we appreciate each and one of you guys. We really do, because this is what makes this platform what it is. This is, and this is one of the things, this topic, this very topic,
It's a great topic.
Legacy, but the topic of black media will be inserted into this conversation that's going up, and the importance of it and how to make it really work for you. And a lot of people really don't get it, and we have to do a better job on this side of the fence, letting you guys understand how you can utilize black media, black platforms such as this to proceed and help navigate a lot easier through your sectors. So once again, thanks on behalf of Robert Helder, myself, Jim Hicks. He's going to be here. You guys stay right there.
Yeah, I just got one thing to share with him. Okay. All right. We'll see you later, Jimmy. Hey, y'all, what I want to do today, what I want to do for the rest, I mean, we got a few minutes. A couple of unique, I don't know if you see the background. That background is the car of Lewis Hamilton. He's a Formula One. But thank everybody. And Kerry Brown, I got a note right here about computers. I'm gonna call everybody that I know in the industry about helping this school work on those 1,000 computers. So I got to get off the phone and call them. So we're gonna work to help you and assist you. We didn't know. I wish you had told me that when you came on the show the last time. I would have definitely put that thing in motion. I'm gonna use my influence all I can to help y'all, help with that thing. But back to Lewis Hamilton again. Y'all, I've had this lately. I don't know what happened. On YouTube one day, and I just clicked, and Lewis Hamilton popped up. This about three or 4 months ago. And I know people around me said, why are you so fascinated? Lewis Hamilton is a young black man, a Formula One driver. Reason we don't talk about it as much, because he is the only black Formula One driver, and he happened to be the best. What I found out about him, how I found out about him, I saw him. He's modeling clothes. He's got a clothing line with Tommy Hilfiger. It's young cat from England, and it's just that, and it was just so unique. That's why I got his car in the background. But let me show you something that's happening in Formula One. He's going up with something similar to what Bubba Wallace went through. Okay, Bubba Wallace being the only NASCAR driver. Formula One is usually around the world. Sometimes they'll come to the United States every now and then. Formula One cars is not these cars. To people who don't know, these are not the cars that go around the oval like this, round and round. They go back and forth. They're a little bigger. You can see the Formula One. But look up Lewis Hamilton. The reason I brought him up, the reason I thought it was important, is because Lewis has been amazing, despite the fact that some of the most influential people in Formula One racing are saying some racist stuff out loud lately. Okay, this is why I'm talking about it. And Lewis Hamilton has been left holding the bag alone. He didn't have a group of guys come out behind him, and he didn't have Richard Petty come up and hold him. You heard about what's going on with Bubba Wallace, but Lewis Hamilton, look him up, a fantastic story. Go to YouTube. Great, intelligent young guy. Go look at his story. He has a hell of a story. He's the most famous Formula One racer in the world. Okay, and he happened to be black. Now, this is a lily white sport, and a black man is at top of the game. He won 6 world championships. You like Michael Jordan? He done won 6. Okay, got his own jet, got the whole thing, right? In his case, y'all, the leader of the racing organization is saying some really offensive things about black people. Let me show you what he said. And Lewis continues to preserve and do some amazing things. This young man, in the face of all this nonsense, this young man, I'm going to tell you what he's doing after this. Okay. The guy I'm talking about, the guy in question, his name is Bernie Eggstone. He's an 89-year-old white guy who've had a history of racist, misogynistic, and anti-Semitic things he's been saying about people. A couple of days ago, he said something again. He was trying to praise Lewis, right, for all the work he has done in the thing, in breaking down the barriers. He praised Lewis, but then he went on CNN and said, in a lot of cases, this Barry Eggstone, he said in a lot of cases, black people are more racist than white people are. That's the narrative that he was pushing. And CNN pushed back and asked him a question. They said, do you have any specifics? Man, you know he's 89 years old, so half of that brain might be gone. But he said he don't have any specifics. He just noticed it over the years. He's one of the most powerful and the most wealthiest people in professional racing, Mindy Collins, in professional sports. He ran Formula One for decades. Now you know why there were no blacks in there. Now he's in an honorary position. I mean, he still got clout though. But he's been known, I looked at his history, he's been known to admire Hitler. He've also said, this Women Rock Wednesday, he've also said that women should wear white to match the appliances in the kitchen. I mean, he just said a whole lot of bad stuff. I mean, it's just, but this young man, I just want y'all to do me a favor. Lewis Hamilton, that's what I wanted to put his car in the background. That car for this year, I think in one of the races, maybe this year, he get Mercedes to change. He drive for Mercedes. He get Mercedes to paint the car black. So that beautiful car you see in the background, if you can see it, it's got a gray, a dark gray. If you can see it, that car will be painted black this season. And also, Lewis usually wear a white racing outfit. He is going. Yes, Sonya. That's why I'm glad I had time to talk to you about it. He's going to have an all black outfit on this year. Young man, y'all. When you go look at his story, his dad worked 4 jobs for him to be over in London to be on the go-kart racing. He bought an old go-kart and he was whooping them dudes with his old go-kart. They said they used to pull up to the tracks. People was wondering why they here, because he was the only black. In 13 years old, y'all listen to me, McLaren, 13 years old, signed this kid to a deal. Mind you, all from 4 to 5 to 6 to 7, his daddy had been racing him all over the circuit, working 4 jobs, Doc. Dad worked. And now young Lewis, the world champion, he came up through the ranks. At 13, he got a job, a deal with McLaren. And then I think a few years after that, Mercedes took him over. Mercedes, he left McLaren and went to Mercedes. And Mercedes gave him the best car. Now he's the 6-time world champion. So Lewis Hamilton, I just wanted to share that, y'all. It ought to be 5 minutes. No, I got 5 more minutes. Wow. I thought I was done. But I just wanted to share that with y'all. And then I saw some things about summer basketball. They talking about the streaming. Somebody sent it to me. I forgot who it was. I'm sorry. They sent it to me on Messenger. But shout out, support Lewis Hamilton. Go look at his plight. And then another thing, I know y'all have heard me talk about this guy. I'm just getting some stuff off my chest right now. Robert Church, who was one of the first black millionaires, one of the most powerful men in the South. Robert Church, he's from my hometown, Memphis, Tennessee. And I know Jimmy didn't understand. He just thought I was talking about Memphis because I never grew up knowing this guy, Sonya and Jeffrey. I never grew up knowing Robert Church because I would love to know it was a hero like that I could have looked up to in Memphis. All the guys with a lot of money in Memphis that I grew up being around happened to be white. And one of the most powerful, and how somebody asked me the other day, what was my first civic duty in politics? And it was a great question. And I'll never forget, I was on the campaign for Harold Ford. That's another guy I looked up. That's why I always wanted to be, I thought I was going to be the president. I thought I was going to be this, because Harold Ford was a U.S. congressman from Tennessee. I worked on his campaign, first time ever, licking envelopes and stuffing the envelope, taking mailers to people and all of that stuff. So that's where I get my civic duty from. But back to this Robert Church guy. I did not know he had something to do with helping the black people in Tulsa, Oklahoma build Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street has been in Tulsa. He was one of the, what's her name? Gosh, he had a girl. See, I didn't get on. I didn't plan on doing this today, but look up Robert Church, man. A powerful, powerful, powerful guy. That's our Black history. And then hold up, when I go on Google, it's all over Google, but they never taught me about that in school. They never taught me about that. Robert Reed Church had a powerful daughter. Even the young, you remember in that movie, Self-Made, in the movie Self-Made, a lot of the historians said Self-Made is not a realistic account, because that other lady, Annie Turnbull, the other lady, Annie, she was just as powerful as C.J. Walker. She was just as powerful, but in the movie, it was more C.J. Walker centric. So it's just a lot of stuff that's going on out there. Yeah, Brandy. I mean, it's just so much stuff out here in history, and we're not too. You know, when you go, I went to a predominantly white high school, then went to University of Memphis, and guess what? Most of the people around, I didn't get a lot of this teaching. You know, I had sister that went to Memphis, had brothers that went to Tennessee State, had people that went to Langston, but they never taught this young man those things back then. And I'm just so glad that this education I'm giving myself now is allowing me to do so much things. It's like, think about these guys. Robert Church, he came out of slavery to being one of the biggest landowners in the South. One of the biggest landowners in the South, Yolanda Green. Yolanda Green, he's so powerful, and I'm gonna end on this one. The United States government revoked the charter of Memphis. Memphis at one point was an incorporated city. And that guy said, oh no, he fought for that. He went and wrote bonds, and matter of fact, he bought the first bond for $1,000. He built that city back. That black man saved Memphis, Tennessee. The government, they had incorporated. You know, when you incorporate it, you have no rights. You don't get no government funding. You don't get no state funding. Everything you raise is through the city, through your community. And he saved that city, and I'm just so proud to know that happened, because I never read that in my history books. And I took civics. I took Tennessee history. They told me about Nathan Bedford Forrest, the Confederate, one of the Confederate soldiers, but they never told me about Robert Church. You know, so it's just, it's a great, and I'm glad I'm able to share with y'all. Just go take a look at Lewis Hamilton. Go take a look at Robert Church. This is our history. That poor Lewis Hamilton gonna need y'all prayers, because he is the only one. And guess what? I almost forgot. Lewis Hamilton just started the Hamilton Foundation that's funding young black kids into STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. He's funding, and he is got an initiative with Formula One, who been run by that racist old man I just mentioned, Bernie Ecclestone. He is funding a STEM program that put those young engineers in these jobs to design these cars, to make these cars run and do all of that. Because he just said he want to diversify his industry. And let me tell y'all something, man. Amazing thing. I always tell y'all, these young people, our young people, Lewis is a young guy. Go take a look at it. Our young people ain't playing around with these people. I said it last week. They done messed with the wrong generation. These young kids smart, they got money, they got influence, and when they band together, the sky's the limit. But let me tell you, we're going to yabba dabba do this thing, and we're going to slide down Dino's back. It's just something I just had it on my heart for a few months, and I'm glad I was able to share with y'all today. But we out of here, man. We will see y'all tomorrow, though. Got another guest tomorrow. Can't wait. Chop Shop out.
Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter, you are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro, let's get it. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop Shop.